Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Paul Pogba out of Manchester United in January. Aaron Ramsey from Arsenal in. What does that make you feel? I feel a bit sick this week anyway. I've got a bit of gastroenteritis. It's really hurting my stomach. And this just makes me feel worse. But some people are quite encouraged by it. I mean, Balagay. I would believe my milkman over Balagay. And he doesn't speak the language. He just delivers the milk. He doesn't really. I haven't even got a milkman. I haven't had a milkman for years. I've never had a milkman. I think my mum and dad had a milkman. I've never had a milkman. I've always got it from the co-op or somewhere like that because it's cheaper. Sorry, milkman. And cows. But the truth is, Balagay, just don't listen to Balagay. But what Balagay has done, he's taken on a new angle, really, Guillem Balagay, and that is to state the bleeding obvious. So what he said is that Paul Pogba is desperate to leave Manchester United whilst Jose Mourinho is there, and he quite likes Barcelona because he likes the thought of Messi. Well, you know, it's a bit like saying, after 10 weeks of rain in England, I'd quite fancy going to Spain because it's nice and warm. You know, it's stating the bloody obvious, isn't it? So I think that look, Paul Pogba probably wants to leave Manchester United while Jose Mourinho's here. That's a conversation we can have in a minute. If he does leave Manchester United, then Manchester United are going to have to bring somebody in. And let's talk about Aaron Ramsey first, because you'll get plonkers like DT. He'll make a video again, bless him. He'll be like, there is no way that Aaron Ramsey is leaving Arsenal. There's no way that's going to happen, right? And then what happens is it probably will happen because he did the same with Alexis Sanchez. So look, the reality is we can't really boast too much about this because I said this the other day. We can't start joking about this because Aaron Ramsey is, and it's been reported by the Evening Standard in London. So that's, you know, they're in London. And Arsenal's in London, so maybe there's something in it. But the reality is that it wasn't just us that were linked to him as well. I believe it was Man City as well. But Aaron Ramsey scored a good goal at the weekend, didn't he? He's technically a very good player. He's a disciple of not Jesus, Arsene Wenger, two very different people. And he's a good player. He's a good player. He came back from a very, very bad injury at Stoke, Shawcross, and he's a good player. Is he what Manchester United need? Well, let's talk about that in a moment. Is he likely to leave Arsenal? You know what? I think Arsenal are doing very, very well at the moment, but Aaron Ramsey is going to turn 28 in December. His contract is up in the summer. He's exactly the same as Alexis Sanchez and Ozil. I don't know why Arsenal allow it to happen, but we've got to shut up because we're allowing it to happen this year as well. We've got exactly the same situation with quite a lot of our players as well. None more notable than Luke Shaw, who was in the same position as Aaron Ramsey. In January, he can talk to clubs outside the Premier League. In the summer, he can go wherever he wants, anywhere for free. So Aaron Ramsey is free to do that. And I think he would probably look at the Arsenal situation and go, am I better than Arsenal? Arguably. Where can I go? Can I win titles in the last 3 or 4 years of my career? Because at 28, you've probably got 3 or 4 years left. And I think that's what it's all about. I don't think he's Jack Wilshere, and they got rid of him. I don't think he's Mesut Ozil, who's a bit of a bottler. He might be a bit of an Alexis Sanchez who looks at it and thinks, I quite fancy a change. So Arsenal fans can say what they bloody well like about it's not going to happen, we're going to win the league. That's not going to happen. I think Arsenal, if they finish 4th this season, brilliant. Manager of the year to Emery would be a brilliant achievement. Long term, I don't think Arsenal can compete with Man City, Liverpool, Manchester United and Chelsea. Maybe they can compete with Spurs because there's the new stadium, but long term I don't see them being able to compete with those teams. And if Aaron Ramsey realises that, and also that he can get a big payday by going somewhere else, maybe he will do. Now, would I take him at Manchester United? For me, it's a big fat no, because this is exactly the sort of Jose Mourinho signing that we see all the time. He turns 28 in December, so by the time he came to United, even if it was in January, he's 28 or he's 28 and a half in the summer. It reminds me of Matic, it reminds me of Alexis Sanchez, it reminds me of the sort of player that Jose Mourinho wants, the finished article player, when there's no development left, they're at the peak of their powers, and all they're going to do is you're maybe going to get 2 years out of them, and then they're going to drop off. It's that immediate come in and do a job, and that's failed from Mourinho so far. It's not the sort of signing I think United need to be making. I certainly wouldn't want it as any sort of reduced replacement for Paul Pogba. Not at all for me. That's taking nothing away from him. I think he's a good player, but I would rather move away from this taking Chelsea players like Matic, taking Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal, going and taking Aaron Ramsey. For me, it's not the Van Persie sort of signing, and it's not the one I would do. Kadir Hassan says Ramsey is a good player, but he's not good enough to win you major trophies. United need a powerhouse midfielder who's similar to Arturo Vidal. Look, we could have gone and got our Vidal. We could have got Vidal, and he's not even playing for Barcelona at the moment. Stephen Featley says, after Robin Van Persie and Alexi, I don't think that Emery would betray us as Arsenal and sell one of our best players to Man United again. Yes, he might go, but not to United. Stephen, just on that, hopefully, thanks for the contribution, but hopefully you realise that you've got no say in the matter. It's a bit like, I'm not slating Arsenal like I did last year because I found it hilarious that Sanchez could do what he bloody well liked, really. Aaron Ramsey can do what he likes. He's in that category of, in January, if he doesn't sign a contract, you can't stop him going anywhere he wants to go. That's the facts with that. So yeah, leave us your thoughts on that. But with regards to Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United, look, if anybody didn't see my video I did at lunchtime, I'm doing a series of these over the international break. They're only about 5 to 8 minutes long. And it's just looking at all the potential candidates for Manchester United manager next after Jose Mourinho. So I did Zidane on Monday, I did Jardim today. And the one thing that stood out to me about Jardim, who is apparently going to be sacked by Monaco if he hasn't been already, is that he actually, from his words, from his own mouth, is that I like to manage different players differently. Everybody is different. I speak to my players every day. You've got to be communicative with your players. He likes attacking football, he likes youth football, but that was the big thing for me. Everybody's different. Arm round the shoulder of some people, kick up the backside of others, but I speak to my players every day. I'm not distant. I want to be a part of it. Jose Mourinho, Ander Herrera said it. We know it. He is very distant. He has his favourites. He steps back and he doesn't really care about his relationships with the players as long as they achieve on the football pitch. And that, for me, is the melting pot with Paul Pogba and Jose Mourinho, is that their relationship is so poor. I think Paul Pogba needs that sort of manager that wants to be interested in him. I've heard stuff like, Pogba sees himself as Mourinho's equal. Well, Pogba's a very arrogant man if he does that, and I don't believe that at all. I think that's just nonsense Pogba hate that's been thrown out there. I personally think that Paul Pogba just wants a manager that actually gives a shit about the players, and I think Paul Pogba is sort of a symbol of the dressing room. I think there's a few players who feel like Pogba. If Mourinho stays at Manchester United, I think Pogba will go. And that's a choice that the club need to make and the fans need to decide what they feel about. There are rumours that Jose Mourinho is going to get given money in January. And that's fine and dandy. That's great. That's super. Yeah, we're going to spend a bit of money. One, why didn't we do it in the summer and waste 6 months? And two, that to me probably means that we're going to lose a couple of players that I don't want to lose, like Paul Pogba. I mean, he's off to watch Serbia play whenever they're playing Jose Mourinho. Apparently it's a 2,000-mile round trip. I can't think of who he's going to watch because Matic isn't there, but Milinkovic-Savic comes to mind straight away. And I just think, again, that's a deal that could have been done in the summer. And why is Milinkovic-Savic a replacement for Pogba? If he is, he's not as quick as Pogba. I like Milinkovic-Savic, but, I just worry. I'm worried about Manchester United, like some people are. I am worried about Manchester United, and I'm worried about where we're going to end up with Manchester United, because I just think that we are in a situation where there's so much uncertainty at the club. There's so much, we're like a Christmas bauble. We're just dangling there, waiting for somebody to take us down in the new year. It's like it is not ideal, and I wonder about where we're going to go and what's going to happen with us. But hopefully we will not be letting Paul Pogba go, because I think that would be a real shame. Stavros says Milinkovic-Savic has been so bad that he won't ever happen. No one is going to pay big money for him. I think, to be fair to you, I do agree. He had a bad World Cup. He's not doing particularly well in Serie A, and I think Lazio had the opportunity to make their money before the World Cup, and they decided to play it out, and it didn't happen. The Serbian centre-back, forgot his name, says Man United. Yeah, he's good. I think his name is Milenkovic, not Milinkovic. Milenkovic. He is good. I forget where he plays. I think he's at Fiorentina. He's a good player as well, so there might be a good couple of players that he's looking at. But you know what? It worries me. There's a lot of trepidation. I don't know whether you agree with this or not. I suppose it depends where you sit with Jose Mourinho, because it worries me that he's out scouting to buy players. And I'm like, no, don't give him any bloody money. He's inevitably going to be sacked. Do not give him any more money. Tie him up for the international break in the Lowry Hotel. Do not let him go scouting players, getting any bloody ideas, because I don't think he'll make it till January. I don't see how he can. We lose to Chelsea, we get beat by Juventus, and there'll be a demand for him to go, so don't let him do it. Matic is injured at the moment, yeah, so it'll be interesting. Just on transfers, I mean, I would love Skriniar at the club. I was talking about him last night. Inter Milan centre back. He's been speaking on the international break, as has Paul Pogba, which I want to talk about. But he's been talking, and he said, look, there was rumours in the summer about Manchester United and offers, but it never happened. And I've just got to focus on the reality, and that is at the moment the transfer market isn't open. So that's quite encouraging. I think I'd love Skriniar to come to Manchester United. I think we'd have to pay good money for him, but considering there was talk of us paying 70 million for Harry Maguire, I'd pay 60 million for Skriniar every day of the week. And Monday, I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. Joyce Dale says that Matic is finished. I don't know how old Matic is now, Joyce. He can't be far off 30, but I don't disagree with you. I think he's only going to get slower and slower, and that is a problem as well. Young and Valencia have finished as well, says RJ Bizzle. I thought Ashley Young was a disgrace in the last game. Captain as well. Talking of which, Paul Pogba's opened his mouth again on international duty, as is his right, and basically said that, he's asked about the captaincy, and he was more talking about France. He said, I'm the bridge between the younger players and the more experienced players. I embrace that role. But he says, you don't need an armband around you to be a leader on the pitch. And he says, I've had leaders on the pitch who are very quiet. And I think he's talking about Antonio Valencia, and I think he's spot on. Whether people have perceived that to be a dig at Mourinho or not, I think not. I think it's something that plays on Pogba's mind, though, quite rightly and quite wrongly, the way he was treated. But Mourinho's stripping of Pogba of the captaincy is down to Mourinho. He's the manager of Manchester United. I just find the hypocrisy of it when you've got Antonio Valencia as your captain. I mean, I think he's one of them. If you'd have said to me 3 or 4 years ago that Antonio Valencia will be Manchester United captain, I would have laughed. I would have said, you're having a laugh. He never talks. He's dead quiet. He doesn't get involved in anything. He doesn't interact with the players. He doesn't interact with the referee. And it's not like he leads by example with his performances, because they're shit as well. So I think Antonio Valencia as a Manchester United captain is absolutely hilarious. KD says the title made me spit my coffee out. Pogba out, Aaron Ramsey in. It's... I don't want that to happen. It would make me spit more than my coffee out. It would make me regurgitate my dinner. But it would be disgusting. But you know what? Looking at it, Pogba's not going to stay at United if Mourinho stays. And Mourinho could stay. Aaron Ramsey's free in January in United. As much as the old Arsenal fans will want to say, he ain't going to go to you lot. You're 8th. We are 4th, or wherever you are. We're going to come to us. He'll come to Manchester United because of the money. What's good to remember is that Aaron Ramsey has snubbed us once. He chose Arsenal over Manchester United years and years ago. No, I mean, it could happen. It could happen. I wouldn't want it to happen, but it could happen. Oh, a little bit more about Louis Zaha. Now, last night I was talking about Louis Zaha, who used to play for Manchester United. He's obviously doing a couple of articles at the moment because he spoke about Paul Pogba, and he said that what Pogba did was out of order, talking about attack, and it's not his fault. And blah, blah, blah. But he's actually said more. Not only did I think that was ridiculous, he's now come out and said more and basically said that Manchester United's form is everybody's fault. And this is something that irritates me a little bit as well. This collective everybody's fault. Is it our fault? Is it the United Stand's fault? Is it everybody else's fault? Is it the fans at the ground's fault? Is it the players' fault? Is it Woodward's fault? Are we all taking the blame for this crap start to the season then? Because I don't want to take any blame for the tactics. If I've got any blame for it, can we do my tactics? Can we pick my best 11? Because that's the whole point, isn't it? It's not everybody's fault. Nobody. The whole point of a manager is that, as Jose Mourinho has said time and time again, I'm the one with the shoulders. It's my decision. I do this, I do that. Jose Mourinho picks the team. Jose Mourinho picks the tactics. If the results on the pitch are not good, it's the manager's fault. It's not a collective fault. It's not the players' fault. It's not Woodward's fault. It's not the fans' fault. It's the manager's fault. Of course, there's a percentage of blame that goes to Woodward for not buying players in the summer, but we don't know the true story behind that. Would you spend £100 million on Boateng and whoever else that he wanted, if that's what he wanted? I mean, maybe he wanted Ousmane Dembele, and he said no. In which case that's bad. But it's a small percentage. The players, the players do have a responsibility, but it's the manager who picks the tactics, and it's the manager who picks the team. It's the manager who's at fault for the bad start to the season. It'd be the manager who was getting all the praise if we were top. What's everybody saying about Klopp? It's the same with Sarri. It's the same with Emery. I've just spoken about Emery. What a great start to the season Arsenal have had. We're not all on about, it's the board's fault, it's this, that and the other. I mean, he didn't get a lot of money to spend either, Emery. So, it's this agenda that comes out from people like Louis Zaha saying it's a collective. It's a nonsense. It's all about brainwashing Manchester United fans into rewriting history, resetting the clock, and making you feel positive about the current situation, when the reality is we are basically a flag in the wind, and nobody knows which way it's going to blow and which way it's going to blow over. We don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But what we do know is that today is October the 10th, and that is 2 months into the season for Manchester United, and we are 8th in the league. We are not going to win the title. We're out the Carabao Cup. The Champions League is probably going to be very exciting this season, but the closest we're going to get to it is if they let us have it at Old Trafford in memory of the 68th anniversary, which will be 40, 50 years, won't it? So we've just had that, actually. So that's not going to happen. I'm thinking about 99 next summer. They might let us have it for a 20-year anniversary. So that's the closest we're going to get to a European Cup. And it's only October the 10th. So, it's a bad start to the season, and I just wish people would stop going on about it's a collective when we all know who's at fault. Sheris Kamar Fitness says play Matic as a centre-back in against lesser teams and rest him against bigger teams. He is slow. David De Gea is the only one who deserves to be the captain. I don't know why De Gea has never got the captaincy, to be honest. Zaha was a good player, but he was very injury-prone, Joyce. Dybala's never going to come our club, didn't play Champions League, says Foot Fan. And can't believe the fans have changed their views on Jose after the win against Newcastle. Heard it off fans saying we're only 7 points off the top. Kader Hussein. I'm glad I've never heard that. I'm glad I've not heard that. We're only 7 points off the top because it's only October. That 7 points, I guarantee, by the end of October, will probably be double points off the top. And then by Christmas, it'll probably be 15 to 20 points off the top. And then by March, we'll be 30 points off the top. That's the way this season's going. Probably whoever we get in, to be honest. I don't think this season's going anywhere, even if we get a new manager in, because patience is important. Lanray101 says, what's with the title of the video? Maybe rewind it, mate, or be here on time. Also, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has come out with some pro-Mourinho comments. What a surprise. So he's basically said that Mourinho is the right man for Manchester United, and that it's the third year, and we're now starting to see that the players know more and more about Mourinho. I mean, it would be laughable if it wasn't from the mouth of Zlatan. Basically, he's always going to be pro-Mourinho. Mourinho and Zlatan are like that, aren't they? They love each other. But to come out and say it's year 3, the players it's going to be fine. The players are getting to know more and more about Mourinho's tactics. Year 3, it's month 3 for Sarri, it's month 3 for Emery, it's month 3 for bloody Frank Lampard at Derby. All those players seem to know exactly what those managers want, but don't worry about it. It's year 3 and the players are starting to know more and more about Mourinho. Year bloody 3. The cheek of some people to come out and start saying that stuff like that. It's year 3, we're gradually getting there. I mean, I'm sure Jose Mourinho, when he first came into the club, sold us this long bloody war and peace story anyway, and said it's going to take me 4 or 5 transfer windows to sort this club out. Well, realistically, we shouldn't have fell for that in the first place, because there's plenty of examples of modern coaches who are very vibrant and very expressive about what they want, and they deliver it very, very quickly. But Mourinho sold us that long story, and here we are, 5 transfer windows later, season 3, regressing. There we go. We've got the old manager. We're like the old vintage car, taking it out on a Sunday, and you think you're taking it to an old vintage fair car show, and actually you turn up at Silverstone and you've got it wrong. It's Formula 1 day, and you roll up on the I nearly said the pit stop, on the grid. And there you are in your vintage Ferrari from 1955. And you're there on the grid. But everybody else, Lewis Hamilton and everyone else, they're in a top spec Formula 1 car. Off it goes. Well, before the whistle goes, it's not a whistle, it's a flag. Everyone's looking at your car going, what a beautiful car. It's worth so much as well. It's a brilliant car. Vintage, brilliant car. Love it to bits. It's much better than our brand spanking new Formula 1 car that's really fast. And everyone's giving it loads of praise. But when the going gets tough and the race starts, it gets left behind because it's too bloody slow. That's Manchester United for you at the moment. We are that vintage, brilliant, expensive, valuable club. But we're nothing compared to the new boys on the grid. We're not. We haven't gone with the times. We're just an old vintage car. And everybody else has got these young, fast, vibrant managers. And we're just stuck with something that was good 15 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. But it's not good now. And that's Manchester United. That's probably one of the best analogies I've ever done. Because that's what we are. I'm not even disrespecting Mourinho. I'm not disrespecting Manchester United. We are a very, very classic vintage car. But it can't win in the modern day because they've got all the technology, they've got all the vision, they've got all the enthusiasm, they've got all the creativity. And we're trying to do it with the old model. Simple as that. That's the problem with Manchester United. And that's why, as much as I wouldn't go for a Jardim, I don't think the club would go for a Jardim. He would be, all right, he probably wouldn't be a Ferrari or a McLaren, but he'd probably be a Force India or something like that. And he'd give us a chance. He would give us a chance. I really do. Cut that off as a meme. I think it's spot on. This would be the worst. This would be the worst signing since Moyes. Ramsey would never go to United, said a lot of people. Please do drop a like on the video if you're enjoying the video. Look, I don't want Aaron Ramsey to come to Manchester United. I can only deliver you what the news is, and that is the news for you. I want to take some of your comments anyway and interact. Please do drop a like. It'd be nice to get 500 likes while we're living. Predictably, the international break starts to kick in and people start to disappear because I don't know where. I've always wondered this. I don't know where people go on the international break because Monday night we had 5,000 people. Last night we had 4,000 people watching. Tonight we're down to 2,500, which is the normal hardcore you get on the international break. So you lot are the hardcore live watchers and anyone who's not watching it live. But where do they all go? Well, it sort of happens on the first Wednesday of the international break and they start to come back in about a week's time. And it's like, where do they go for a week? What are you doing on a Wednesday night at 8:30 when there's no football on the telly? Or is there some football on the telly? I don't know. I'm not interested in international football. Gigs with Butt, Neville and Scholes, forget foreign gobshites, says Kieran Byrne. Jardim would be excellent as Manchester United manager, says Andrew Ellis, who actually be unknown sensation for us. You know what? I would say, whoever Andrew Ellis goes for, probably jump on it and it will be a success. And the only reason I say that, Acceptic is definitely hardcore. The only reason I say that is because Andrew Ellis from day one with Jose Mourinho is a bit of a legend on this show because he said from day one, when we were all enthusiastic about Mourinho, myself included, I was like a kid in a candy shop. And he was like, don't want Mourinho, don't think it's going to work. And consistently kept saying that even when we were doing quite well. Obviously, his chickens have come home to roost now and they're laying big golden eggs because he's right. But I'm very interested to see that Andrew Ellis would like Jardim. I don't know whether that's who he really wants. Maybe he'll drop the live comment in. He'll drop a comment in the live comments. But I would keep an eye out on him. Ben Silver says, Hi Mark, do you watch Better Call Saul? By the way, if you could be manager for United, how would you tackle these issues? I haven't watched Better Call Saul yet, Ben. Thanks for the contribution. I am going to watch it. At the moment, I'm sort of watching Peep Show, which is a comedy, which I'd never thought I would like, but I'm really liking it. There's about 9 seasons of it. What would I do if I was Manchester United manager right now? So Mourinho's been sacked. I come in till the end of the season. God help him. What I would do is, first of all, I would change the way we're playing football. I would go on the front foot. I would pass out quickly from the back. I would use the flanks. I would get my full-backs bombing on. If you ever watch me play FIFA, that's how I would get my team to play. I would pass out from the back. Sometimes it's risky, but I would pass out from the back. I'd use my triangles. I'd move the ball quickly. I'd get people giving and going, which is Mourinho doesn't do that. He's very static. Give and go. Use the flanks. People into the box. It's the old Manchester United way. Basically, it's what Sir Alex Ferguson used to do, and that's what I would do. And the great thing about that is it would get the fans going because it's hidden somewhere in the annals of their brain. Annals of their brain. Not anal. And they would respond to it. My starting 11 would obviously be very, very different. I would play Bay and Smalling as centre back till I could buy Skriniar. I would have Dalot and Shaw as my fullbacks. I'd have my midfield would be Pogba and Fred, and I would have probably Probably try Pereira in there or Matic. My wide players would be Martial on the left, Sanchez on the right, and I'd put Lukaku through the middle. And that's how I would go about it. And straight away, I think you'd see a better United. And then I'd get to January, I would buy a centre-back. I'd be looking for a right midfielder as well. And that would do me through till the summer. And then I'll probably get the sack because we've been relegated. But there you go. Do you think Donald Trump will change, as Liz Lee? I think Donald Trump and Jose Mourinho were quite similar in relation to their stance on things. I think they're both very stubborn. I think they both think they know best. And I think they're both probably going to fail. But if it works, it's brilliant. And we can never move away from the fact that for a few years, Jose Mourinho was brilliant. Irritatingly brilliant, because it wasn't at United, it was at Chelsea. And, well, Real Madrid didn't really bother me too much. But he was brilliant and antagonistic and brilliant. He ain't anymore. Easier said than done, Mark, says Marvin. Oh yeah, look, Marvin, it's not that simple. Of course it isn't, and you never know if you never know if a new manager goes in. Maybe there is an issue with the players. Jack Coleman says Woodward will never sack Jose because he will have to explain to the Glazers why he gave him a new contract. I said that, Jack, didn't I? I said that the other day. That Woodward is desperate for Mourinho to stay and succeed because it's 3 managers on the chopping block for Woodward, and it doesn't reflect well on a chief executive, especially when he's having to pay them so much each time. And also, Aaron Ramsey doesn't know anything about football. Ed Woodward doesn't know anything about football, so he will be just blindly going along hoping it's going to work. Ed Woodward won't have any concepts that football's changed over the last 3 years, and people like Klopp, Sarri, Pep, Emery, Pochettino, they're the new breed of managers in the Premier League. The way they play fast football, they press high. Woodward, if you talk about pressing to Woodward, he'll be thinking about wine because he's got a bloody cellar full of vintage collectible wine. The only press he's thinking about is on the bloody grape. That's it. He ain't got a clue about pressing or modern football. What he will look at is at Wikipedia, and he'll go, Mourinho's actually got much better records than Pochettino and everybody else. That's the only thing he's looking at because it's all out of book. It's not based on, like you lot, years and years from kids to adulthood, watching football week in, week out, day in, day out, learning about football, getting passionate about football, soaking up the changing world of football. Woodward's probably never liked football. He's just made a lot of money out of it. I don't know what his history is. I don't believe he's a Manchester United fan. The Glazers certainly aren't, but businessmen, they're brilliant. Try Andres Pereira on the right, says Kieran Byrne. Yeah, he's got a good cross on him. I think that's one of the things that disgusts me about Mourinho the most is the treatment of Andres Pereira. Okay, Stavros. Okay, I like Jardim and Hoffenheim manager, but the boss who I like and isn't a big name is Eddie Howe, says Andrew Ellis. There you go. We've got it from the official man. He's not going for the mainstream Zidane. He's going for something a little bit more forward thinking. How's Antonio Conte or Diego Simeone, says Uktar Kesharesh. I don't want either of those, Conte or Simeone. I don't want Conte because it's embarrassing to take another reject from Chelsea. And I don't want Simeone because he doesn't fit Manchester United. He fits Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho, but he doesn't fit what Manchester United should be doing. We've appointed 3 managers that don't suit Manchester United. They don't suit Manchester United. So I don't want Simeone, as great as he is, and he does a fantastic job. But he doesn't go toe-to-toe with Real Madrid and Barcelona. He does it in his own way, and he tries to not concede goals. Pochettino, we're probably going to do Pochettino tomorrow lunchtime, so keep an eye out for that pancake. We need to run Pogba, Fred, Pereira or Pogba, Fred, Mata in the middle, says Alec M. I'd love to see it happen. It's never going to happen with this manager because he's always going to have to find a place for Matic and sometimes even for Fellaini as well. Please no more defensive managers, says Brogan Ferrace. I agree with you on that. Poch is a bottler, says Mark Van Oo. Well, we'll be talking about that tomorrow. The pros and cons of Poch. We will be talking about that tomorrow at lunchtime at 1 o'clock. I've got about 6 managers I'm going to do. I've done Zidane, I've done Jardim, Pochettino tomorrow, and then there's about 3 others to do before the international break closes. It's flying by. I do think the international break is flying by, and I think if you want it to fly by, just keep getting involved with the United Stand. Watch the 1 o'clock shows, join the live shows at 8 o'clock, watch my channel, FIFA 19, full FIFA Ultimate Team. What a banter stream that was today. But yes, if you didn't see the Jardim video, click the eye in the top right hand corner and go and watch it. It's only 8 minutes and this is a bit of a shorter show tonight, so you could go and give it a watch. And if you don't know anything about Jardim, or you do know anything about Jardim, it's the pros and the cons. Very, very interesting. Anyway, thanks for all you heroes for watching us live. It makes it worthwhile during the international break because it can get a little bit lonely. There is loads. The thing about the international break is there's always loads and loads to discuss because players leave the club, they open their gobs. Other people try to fill the international break void by saying stuff as well. There's always something to discuss. So thanks everybody, Matt. I am one of the candidates. I'm the 6th manager. Goldbridge for manager is going to be the final one, and I want the most votes for it. And at the end, we're going to vote for everybody. So click the eye in the top right hand corner for Jardim to find out the pros and cons about him. Drop a like on the video, and I will see you tomorrow lunchtime with the Pochettino pros and cons, and then I'll be back live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock as usual. Thanks everybody for watching. We will be doing the call in tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a very nice evening. Thanks for watching.